You're about to listen to an excerpt of Secret City Geek Lab broadcast on KTSTFM.com every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. For more news, reviews, and interviews from the world of geek, visit the Geek Lab at secretcitycomedy.com/geeklab or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/secretcity. Enjoy the show. This is KTSTFM. I'm Alan Ning, and you're listening to The Geek Lab. We just heard a lot about Disney Animated. Let's review it. Since I was a child, I would read basically two types of books. It was either about the Muppets or it was about animation. And over the years, my fascination with animation grew and grew. Over the years, though, I was able to get my hands on the ultimate resource book in animation. And it's called The Illusion of Life, Disney Animation by Ollie Johnston, who was one of the 9 old men. One of the original Walt Disney animators. It was a very large book, and it gave you everything you need to know about basically the ideas and theories, not only about animation, but about Disney animation. The book is very expensive, and also today things have changed. Disney no longer does hand-drawn animation, and although as much as this book can seem outdated, it really isn't. And just because of its size and its price, it's very inaccessible to kids today. And so that's where the Disney Animated app comes in. As you heard during the presentation, this app is available for the Apple iPad, and it gives you an immersive experience into the world of Disney animation. You're able to go through the entire process of from beginning to end of how a Disney animated feature is created, and there are a lot of hands-on workshops that you can do. But the reason I mentioned before about the Illusions of Life book is because there are about 12 principles that are applied to animated films today, and how Walt Disney created those 12 principles, instilled them even in as early as Snow White, and how those principles are still used today. And you're able to interact with those principles as well. The app does let you go through all 12, and it does let you interact with one of the first ones, which is the squash and stretch. The idea being that in the app, there is a work section where you can actually see the squash and stretch in action, where it's a bouncing ball. You know, when in real life, let's say you take a bowling ball and you drop it, that bowling ball hits the ground with a thud, but the bowling ball in itself maintains its shape because of its density. That ball just stays in a perfectly round state, spherical state. But in Disney animation, items and objects are much more fluid than that. And so if you were to see a ball bounce, let's take a cartoon bowling ball and just drop it. As the ball hits the ground, it squashes a little bit, gives that comedic effect, and then it coils back upwards and stretches up if it were to bounce, and bounce and stretch into the direction that it would go. So even though it may have been a cartoon bowling ball, in reality, it would never change shape, but in Disney animation, it would. And you see that in action with Disney Animated. Also, the concept of keyframes. In computers, when you animate, what happens is you have keyframes. In one frame, maybe a person is sitting down. And in the second frame, the person is standing up. And what the computer does is it animates every transitional frame from sitting down to standing up, and the computer does that for you. And when you use the Vanellope character model that is provided for you in the Disney Animated app, you're able to put her in one position, put her then in a second position, and then the app will then animate or create the key frames or the frames in between those two key frames. It's an amazing app. It's definitely user-friendly for children, moving around from page to page, finding Easter eggs, very easy, a lot of fun to use. I give this an 8 out of 10. This was a production of Secret City Geek Lab on KTSTFM.com. We broadcast every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Visit the Geek Lab at secretcitycomedy.com/geeklab or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/secretcity.